Hello and welcome. My name is Emily Shaw, and my research proposal is on does the visibility of glamorized social media content affect self-esteem? Literature review. Introduction to the subject. In the current society we live in, social media plays a huge role. We rely on gathering information about current affairs, but the main use of it is to share people's personal lives, e.g., day in the life, or show off new looks and body images. Statistics show that in the early ages of adolescents' lives, it causes negative effects on their mental health and how they look at their body image. Stats from the US report that 40% of adolescents say the content they are viewing are causing them to worry about how their body looks. Over 7% of adolescents have reported being addicted to exercise due to their social media content. I strongly believe that we should not be letting adolescents connect with glamorized social media until they are mature enough to realize that social media is fake. This is a subject that has been heavily studied over the years and is something that is affecting more young adults and adolescents as the years go on. In the long-term scheme of things, if social media keeps affecting the mental health of adolescents and young adults, it could result in worse idealizations and solutions to negative thoughts. This experiment will be based on whether these negative mental health impacts are due to people actively engaging, like commenting and liking, or with content, or compared to passive engagement like scrolling. Literature review. Supporting scientific literature. Supporting literature that asks the same question around whether social media negatively affects the self-esteem of young adults and adolescents has found that there are more negative effects than positive effects on overall well-being. Ashad et al. Took on the objectification theory. Their findings concluded that there were moderate levels of body shame, anxiety, and depression, FOMO consequences, and eating disorders, while also showing levels of sleep disturbance. This study focused on the psychological impacts of social media advertisements on young female bodies images. It proved that when young females viewed advertisements, it creates this self-view in their head that they need to be a certain body type and creates this feeling of anxiety and depression when they compare themselves to a body type that's better than theirs. Berryman et al. Study has findings that indicate that social media is a poor predictor of negative views on oneself, but they then state that they have findings that when someone would post messages on someone's content, like commenting, there was an increased negative effect on those individuals' well-being and body image. This part of this study aligned with the main objective of what we wanted to find out. Berryman et al.'s overall study was to test whether social media use is harmful to teens. Drawing on another study based on the use of social media and the negative effects that it has on the minds of young adults. This is the study that gathers personal information and perspectives on teenagers and how they feel social media is changing them. O'Reilly et al. Found that there is a growing belief that social media platforms are having an increased negative impact on well-being. It is believed that 90% of adolescents will use their cell phones throughout the day and night periods, with 37% of them losing sleep. These stats have proven how addictive this mobile phone can be. Findings draw on how the participants felt as if social media was a direct link to mental illness like depression and suicidal ideation. From the personal perspective of the participants, they saw social media as an addictive thing and that it created dependence. The study from Biari found that there was a significant impact on Saudi Arabian individuals who would like, comment, and follow certain people. These types of interactions resulted in youth trying to seek out attention and validation, causing them to have an increase in stress, depression, and anxiety. Biari drew findings that suggested those who viewed content from online influencers were more likely to have had the feeling that they needed to emulate those individuals. This study's main objective was to find a relationship between social media and the increase in mental health problems among the Saudi Arabian youth. These four literatures concluded findings, giving a promising connection to what our study is hoping to find. My hypothesis. I hypothesize that actively engaging, like commenting and liking, with glamorized social media negatively affects self-esteem more than passively engaging, like scrolling with the same content. My methods section. The design. Participants are randomly assigned to one of two variable groups, either a passive engaging group where they scroll or an active engaging group where they comment and like content. My participants. 60 participants are gathered who are both female and male from the University of Canterbury. My procedure. Before we begin the study, we will introduce them to what the topic of discussion is, their experiment, and then gather their consent and let them understand they can leave whenever they want throughout their experiment, before we proceed with it all. Before we get into the main part of the experiment, we will get the participants to fill out a pre-self-report survey that includes details like what their self-esteem is like, how they view themselves, e.g. their body image, demographics, frequency of social media use, and their current mood. This will all be presented in the form of an RSES survey. We will then proceed to randomly split the participants into either the passive or the active variable group. Within these groups, they will both be asked to interact with social media for 25 minutes. Post-experiment, we gave the participants another survey with the same questions about their views on their body image, mood, and self-esteem. My discussion section. This experiment's expected results would be that when the participant is actively engaging with content for 25 minutes, their self-esteem and reporting of their self on the pre-exam survey will change negatively. This means that they are going to be viewing themselves as poorer after they view content that is glamorized. Whereas on the other hand, for the passive group, their post-survey results will hopefully be similar to the pre-experiment survey, or a very minimal increase in negative self-viewing. These expected results will support our hypothesis that active engagement is more harmful to the self-esteem of individuals compared to when someone isn't taking in content as deeply. An issue of this study is that even if we did find what we hypothesized, there is not much we can do to prevent adolescents from viewing this type of content due to it being such a big part of how they are growing up in this generation. Glamorizing content, like editing pictures to remove blemishes or make you look skinnier, is something that is so normalized within the growing generations. Protecting adolescents from cultivating negative ideations is something we don't know how to do yet. An implication from this study could be that adolescents are taught to take what is on the internet with a grain of salt, informing them that not everything they see, read, and interact with is real, enlightening them to think critically about whether what they are looking at is reflecting positively on their well-being and self-esteem. These are my references. Thank you for listening.